Blue dude, blue moon, kinda mysterious, shaded with someone I'm not really into. Do you need to fix it? Talking bullshit. It's hard to see you when your eyes look dull. Who's gonna save you? Who's gonna make you not blue?
Over the weekend, I spent some time in a city in interior British Columbia called Kamloops. I was going up with a bunch of my friends to meet up with another friend who recently moved out there, and we were going out to visit them and also set up a highline. I think I've mentioned before in videos, but within the past year or so took up slacklining, and also as a result of the slacklining and the slackline community here in Vancouver, I also took up highlining, which I'm still working on. I still have yet to stand up on a highline, but one day that day will come and it will be so exciting. So the goal was that we would go to Kamloops and we would set up a highline, we would hang out, we would camp, and it would just be a really nice weekend away from the city. I did not realize just how hot it was going to be. It hovered around 35 degrees Celsius for the whole weekend. I also did not realize how much of a desert climate Kamloops is. It's not a real desert as far as I'm aware, but the climate is the closest to a real desert that I've ever really experienced. It looked like a desert, like the plants were very adapted to a hot climate, and there were little cacti in the sand that you had to watch out for. There was also a lot of smoke that came from the wildfires. They're going on pretty much across British Columbia right now, but there's a lot in northern BC that kind of all of the smoke gets carried down to other parts of British Columbia and other parts of Canada and the northern states, I'm assuming. It just carries the smoke, so there's just clouds of smoke. The air quality was really bad on Saturday, but even with the super high temperatures and the smoke and quite a physical weekend, especially with that kind of heat, I still had a wonderful weekend. was so nice to be away from the city, in a different place, kind of disconnected for most of the weekend. My phone died sometime around Saturday night, and then I honestly didn't charge it until probably midday on Sunday. I kind of just decided I didn't want to charge it. Just kind of wanted to unhook for, you know, at least 12 hours, because I feel like I never really get the opportunity to do that. So one thing that I wanted to do during this trip this weekend was I did want to get a little bit of work done on my story. And to be totally honest, I didn't. I thought about it, which I always say still counts, but I really didn't get that much work done on it. I thought about it a little bit, but for the most part, I was just kind of enjoying the moment and kind of trying to be present with everything that we were doing and with the people that I was with. I think that that was probably the best thing for me to do this past weekend. I think that was a good idea, and I think I really needed some intentional moments to be present with people and not be thinking about other things constantly, because that is how I spend most of my free moments, is thinking about other things that I need to be doing, or tasks that I have on the go, or things that I haven't completed or that I'm late on. And honestly, when I think about all of that, it doesn't surprise me that my mental health tends to take these dips very often. But spending time in nature and being present with people that I really love and people whose energy I really love spending time around is something that always recharges me and makes me feel just a little bit better. It always boosts my mental health. So I'm really, really thankful that I got to do that this past weekend. And now I'm back. I am back in Vancouver. I'm back in my space. So yeah, I ended up not getting any writing done this weekend, and I'm not upset about it. It did, however, get me thinking about the fact that being an author these days, I guess, or being a successful writer, requires a lot of social presence that I think it maybe didn't require as much of back in the day. I think the traditional requirements of a published author were very different, even 10 years ago compared to what they are now. Obviously, I have not traditionally published, nor have I self-published any of my full-length novels, but I've heard from people, and it seems to be the running standard, that you have to be present on social media and you have to work on building a following and building a community of people that you think would be interested in your work in order to be successful in this industry now. And I can't help but feel, not to be dramatic, but this crushing weight of the fact that that is something that will help me sell my books, especially as a self-published author. Having that social presence and connecting with people and building a community online is something that's almost expected. It's almost like in the job description at this point, because of how big of a role social media plays in all of our lives. And I would love to hear from any of you who share any of your art online, whether that's filmmaking and cinematography, or visual arts, drawing, or writing, literally anything that you share or that you've been successful with. I would love to hear about, I guess, how social media has played a role and how it hasn't, because I don't want to be fully consumed by social media. I love it. I love the platforms that it has given me, and I love making videos. I have been making videos for almost 10 years now. This is something that I've always been doing, and it's been a wonderful way for me to kind of express myself and tell stories through a different medium. But lately I feel like I've been overwhelmed with the idea that having this social media presence and platform is the only way to sell my art and the only way to make any sort of living off my art. And sometimes I think maybe the solution to that is to not need to make a living from my art. I think that would definitely make it easier, but at the same time, I want to make at least some sort of money from my art and from what I create, just because that takes up such a massive part of my life. And I would love to be able to share it with people without having the pressure of also having a different full-time job, which is also why I always say that I would love to just have multiple income streams, some that are more creative and some that are more technical, which I pretty much do have now, but still, I think I'm just trying to figure out the balance. And I know this is quite the tangent, so if you've stuck around, I really appreciate it. Yeah, I think there truly is just kind of this pressure that I've been feeling a lot lately around the fact that I feel like I need to be fully present and following trends and whatnot in order to successfully continue creating my art. And maybe I'd be able to alleviate some of that pressure if I shifted my mindset a bit and decided to consider that what I'm doing now with my art, the writing that I'm doing and the films that I create and the things that I want to create, maybe if I considered myself to be successful now in those things, because I'm just thinking maybe it's in the way that I define success as an artist and as a creative person. Maybe that needs to shift in order for me to take off some of the pressure of having a social media presence and having an online community. Because really, that's not a requirement to continue creating art. And I have to believe that it's not a requirement to sell my art one day or to get some sort of monetary compensation, I guess, for my art, if that's what I choose to do with it. I don't know. Sometimes it feels kind of taboo talking about making money from your art. And I've had a lot of pushback from people in different ways. People thinking that if you want to earn money from your art, then you're not doing it for the right reasons and that sort of thing, which I don't really believe. I also think there's a lot of nuance to the topic though. So yeah, I don't know. I kind of just wanted to touch on some of my thoughts. I think this is going to be the whole video for today because this is just kind of the headspace that I'm in, reflecting on the weekend and just reflecting on some thoughts that I had over the weekend and what I want my life as an artist to look like. And I thought I'd share them with you. I hope that you all enjoyed this video. Even though it was a little bit different, I had a good time creating it and putting everything together. Feel free to leave me any thoughts you have in the comments below. Don't forget to smile, and I will see you in my next video.